Arid, nice to meet you. My name is Matt, otherwise known as LeafyDragon_FPL on Twitter. I'm delighted to be able to say that I'm going to be providing Fantasy Premier League content for the Gallowgateshots YouTube channel for this season and hopefully long into the future. It's a really proud moment for me because I've watched Gallowgateshots for years. I've listened to their podcast, and it's really pleasing for me to be able to give you guys an insight into something that I'm very passionate about and followed quite a lot throughout the season. Fantasy Premier League is something that I take really seriously. I've played it really strongly for 3 years. Keep an eye on all the stats. I look out for press conferences and look out for team news really early. I know those people do exist. And yeah, so that's me. That's something that I'm really passionate about. And I'm going to be giving you guys the lowdown on Newcastle United players as assets for your teams, keeping an eye on who's scoring the most points, who's keeping the most clean sheets, getting the most bonus points throughout the season. And I'm also going to keep tabs on the Gallowgateshots Fantasy Premier League table. So hopefully I'll be winning it, because what's the point in me doing this channel if I'm not going to be winning it? So I've been challenged with giving you guys the best 3 players from last season in terms of points scored. Now, because we had so many injuries, whether that be for COVID reasons or because Steve Bruce knackers everyone in training, we kind of had a bit of a weird mix of points scored, and that's led us to not really have a true reflection on who our best players are from a fantasy point of view. At number 3, we had Alan St. Maximin with 85 points. He got the same points as Adam Webster, yes, the defender from Brighton. Yikes. He got 4 goals and 5 assists in 25 games. I think he's 6.5 million, but he's a forward. Now, the issue you've got with that is you don't really want a midfielder as your forward in Fantasy Premier League because he's going to be playing too deep. Not only that, he doesn't take penalties, doesn't take free kicks, doesn't take corners. Although he's a talisman and although he's really important to us, that doesn't necessarily translate to points scored for us. So we need to really kind of get rid of him out of our minds. Although we love him to bits, and I hope he stays here forever, Fantasy Premier League wise, I don't really think he's worth the risk of having him in your team. One person for that price would be Ivan Toney, I think, which ironically used to play for Newcastle. I'm predicting him to have a big season, and for 6.5 million, top goal scorer last season in the Championship, takes penalties. He's the kind of guy that you're going to want in your team for that money. As well, so number 2, Almiron, Miguel Almiron. That guy who runs around in midfield, tries to get the ball off people and doesn't really offer much attacking wise, hasn't really scored many goals. Yeah, he's our second highest point scorer last season from Fantasy Premier League. He got the same amount of points as Ndombele of Spurs, and that really says it all. Don't want him in your team, shouldn't. I predicted that he was going to have an amazing year last year, foolishly. Had him in my game week 1 team, got 1 assist, and then did absolutely nothing and was kind of in and out of the team. I know Steve Bruce didn't start him for some weird reason in his infinite wisdom. So yeah, don't put him in your team. Really, don't do it. I'm telling you not to, because that's really important. And yeah, we'll move swiftly on. Number 1, you've guessed it, is Callum Wilson, the sex. He's just an absolute dreamboat. Caterpillars for eyebrows. He's got a smile that would make your heart melt. He's just an absolute dream. He missed 12 games last year because of injury. He's got poorly hamstrings, bless him. I'll give him a quick rub if he wants. He's going to score points, and that's plain and simple. If you can get him in your team at the right points for the right fixtures, you are going to have a good time with Callum Wilson. I wish I could have a good time with Callum Wilson. He gets penalties. As long as we can get the penalties and he gets the chances in a very defensive team, you're going to be laughing. And obviously his fans were going to be laughing as well. He got 12 goals, even though he missed 12 games. He's going to be in a lot of teams because he's 7.5 million. He got 5 assists. And at the minute, I think he's only just under 5% owned. And I don't know why. He's not in my team. Again, really don't know why that I'm thinking about it. He's somebody who you could be thinking about rotating with Patrick Bamford because he's at the same price, and you could potentially have Callum Wilson in for the first 3 games, and then when Leeds fixtures turn, you could put Bamford into your team if you wanted to. That's a risk you could take. One quick note before I go, Martin Dubravka is 4.5 million. If you wanted to rotate goalkeepers and have two 4.5 million goalkeepers and have those fixtures on your side and cherry pick that best fixture for that goalkeeper, then Sanchez from Brighton and Dubravka would work really, really well. Both really cheap. And yeah, it might be worth it. There is always the risk that you'll end up having points on your bench and your goalkeeper that you've played ends up conceding. But that's why we love FPL, because it's pretty painful. Yeah, it's a twisted game. So that's me. I hope you enjoyed me first video. I hope that there'll be many more. I hope you'll stick with me. Hope you'll join the Gallowgateshots Fantasy Premier League. I'll try and tweet out that code, as will Chris. And yeah, hope to speak to you soon. Give me a shout on Twitter. Remember, it's LeafyDragon_FPL. And I can't wait to interact with you guys throughout the season. Adios.